Hey everyone, I filmed this before, but unfortunately the wind was so bad I couldn't hear it in the audio, so I'm going to go over this information again. So, hay days is over. Crazy hay days is over. In Ontario here, we had a very big shortage last year, as many of you know, in hay. So, as I predicted before, when I told a lot of people that it was going to reach $100 hay, and it did this winter. I'm excited, even though I'm a hay producer. It makes a lot more money to sell larger quantities of hay at a lower price than it does to sell smaller quantities of hay at a higher price. In this area, you usually get between, I would say, about 40 to 70 a bale. And that's a 4x5, just because I'm in a bit of a niche. I'm closer to the city, and there isn't as much land around. So I still have some hay left, and I was very happily surprised. But when I set this up last fall, what I did was I made sure I had enough hay to get me through to the end of May, because I knew by the end of May I'd have enough grass and they'd be able to withstand. I threw our cattle on earlier than I could have. If I was intensively managing my pastures, I would have actually waited a little bit, because they're mowing it a little short. But what I did, because the reason I did that was because our fencing is pretty much finished here. If everything, pretty much, I have to re-fence the entire farm. So I throw them out a lot of the time because I don't really have a choice, but what I do is I make sure I surplus them with hay. And they stopped eating hay, even though it's in the feeder, it's there. So that's a good sign. That means there's still enough where they're getting by. I haven't touched the pastures too much yet. I've been watching Mr. Nate cutting his stuff, and I'm getting a little excited, and I want to get there, but I just haven't gotten there. But I'm just excited here that we have enough hay, and then I have some extra. Last year I sold some surplus year-old hay, and this year I'm not going to do that because the price I get is not enough to justify it. It isn't. For me, it makes more sense to save it, and that's just 25 less bales that I can that I need to keep, and so I can sell more. So I'm excited. This year it's just starting, the moisture's just starting to get out of the ground here. Not quite, it's still too wet to plow, it's still too wet. It's getting on the lawn. I'm just stepping here to kind of feel it out. It's still more or less too wet to spread. I'm kind of trying to figure out my plan for spreading, but I gotta figure something out. I want to get some manure down. I know I want to do it thin. I don't know how thin it'll work, but I'd like to get some manure down on all my hay fields as well as my pastures. If I could just box them out and let it break down for a month in one area, and then that way I can use the pastures and get some fertilizer on it, because this thing hasn't been fertilized, I would say, in 15 years minimum. I don't remember them spreading manure. So it needs it. We're pretty good with the clay ground. The clay ground holds a lot of minerals, and the issue with the clay is it doesn't allow for root growth very much. You get compaction issues big time. And what it does is the second it gets wet, it turns back into concrete, and then it doesn't allow the air through, just as before. So my plan is to get it so that I'm aerating, and that I'm putting organic matter into the soil, thus allowing spaces and air into the soil to allow root growth to get higher yields. So it makes more sense for me to manure spread than it does to artificial fertilizer for that reason. Artificial fertilizer works great, and it's more accurate, but I can use it in conjunction, but I think the manure is going to do me more good here. And yeah, that's the plan, guys. So thanks for watching. Feel free to comment and rate and subscribe as always. Take care. Keep farming.